The main alliance that formed initially was actually something called the Voluntary Emergency Response Alliance, which was formed during COVID, and it brought together CEOs of a mixture of voluntary, community and social enterprise sector organisations to respond to the emergency crisis of the COVID pandemic, and really just try and look at how they could interlink with public health, Cornwall Council, the National Health Service, and really try and create the best impact for communities that they serve. And that has now become something that's called the Strategic Alliance. But out of that came the need for us focusing on key topics, and that really led to there being what we call thematic alliances, which really bring together groups of organisations around key topics. So it might be mental health, it could be children, young people and families, housing and homelessness. We have a whole range of thematic alliances.
The object is basically to bring all these people together with all of their expertise, their experience, the different ways that they work, the different communities that they work with underneath that theme, and for them to share that experience and those insights and essentially build those relationships so that across the sector we're working better together and we can unify our voice.
I think the Alliance is really beneficial for the organisations that are members for a number of reasons. Partly, I guess, because they are organisations that might tend to be slightly smaller, may not have the same degree of resources as a large organisation would have, often tackling similar issues in slightly different geographies because of the way some of these organisations will tend to exist. That's not true for all, but there is some of that. So it then helps if we can bring people together so they can share those experiences, talk about solutions, try to reduce duplication and just spark off good ideas and things like that as well. And sometimes just to talk about and share some of the bigger challenges that we're facing so that we know we're not alone.
The Children, Young People and Families Alliance is essentially focused on ensuring children and young people across Cornwall have the best possible life they can, whether that relates to their health or well-being or access to career opportunities, activities. We recognise that children are going to be future adults, so they're worth investing in, but also seeing them as having their own intrinsic value as part of our communities. I think that's a belief that across our alliance we share.
There have been so many different pieces of work that we've been able to do so far, even in the short few years that we've been meeting. We have made a film that we've shared with decision makers across Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly, where we're saying this is what the whole system needs to be like. So we've been influencing how people think about children and put children into all their policy decision kind of making things. We've created a Children's Safeguarding Forum within our alliance where we can all network and really reflect on our practice as safeguarding practitioners within our sector.
We've seen that the Housing and Homeless Alliance has been able to take forward some areas of work or to kind of link up people doing various things with a clear impact on the health and well-being of people who are experiencing homelessness in some sort of way. People who are in the homelessness system or at risk of becoming homeless have very significant adverse mental and physical health impacts from that experience, so it's a really important area for the Alliance. So we have some good link-ups between the Alliance and between the public health team at the Council, and also cross-pollination between our Alliance and some of the other alliances as well. To give one recent example, we had a request come in from the public health team at the Council around campaigns around quality of sleep. One of the members of the Alliance from Wild Young Parents, that was an area of particular interest for him, so they've now been teaming up to look at some of the work they're doing in Newquay around the quality of sleep for people in this area. So a clear example of potentially where if the Alliance didn't exist, that conversation wouldn't have happened, and work that will then hopefully address some of these issues wouldn't then be taken forward.
It's a lot of small organisations really can't come to lots of extra meetings. They haven't got the capacity to cover that. So having a bit of a budget means that we can hire a venue, we can provide a nice bit of cake for everyone so they can enjoy networking with each other, but it also means that they're not losing out by coming to our alliance. And that's really important because we don't just want the bigger players here, we want all the small organisations that are really reaching the communities that often other people don't reach. We want them as part of our alliance.
A good example of how having budgets for our alliances has really helped has come out of what we call the Cornwall Food Access Alliance, which actually is made up of people like food banks, food larders, community fridges, local growing schemes and support organisations responding to the emergency food need of residents in Cornwall. And we actually looked at a really big campaign around Challenge Poverty Week, which was trying to raise awareness and promote support for the challenges that people have living in the county, particularly around the cost of living crisis and how those are multiple layers of issue. So the budget actually allowed us to come together with a cooperative group of Cornwall Independent Poverty Forum, Newquay Food Bank, Truro Food Bank, ourselves and also Cornwall Council Public Health, and really come together to organise a collaborative event that was at St Michael's Church in Newquay. We actually delivered a really quite large scale project. So that needed money for catering and refreshments, it supported technology and the filming of the event, but importantly it just allowed us to come together with a relatively small amount of money to actually achieve a really big outcome.
Looking forward, for the next few months, we're going to be focusing on the health of children, young people and their families, physical and mental health, and make sure that the health system around us is really putting children first and remembering that they are our future for Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly, and so we need to give them the best start they possibly can have.